Maybe movies. If you're this precise at making somebody go to sleep, you'd have learned how to make somebody wake up without it feeling like you're being dragged back from the other world.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it would be quite nice.
Oh.
He's gone again.
Oh!
God damn it. See, it's always everybody else, isn't it? You know?
When do we get a day off?
What's this? I don't know. Well, it's gold. Have you won a prize?
Yeah.
Whatever
The prize of freedom?
don't be stupid.
Hey guys. Go on again.
Like the light.
Okay, I'm reading as fast as I can.
Read faster.
Go on again. See you soon, but I've left you a present. Good luck.
Present? Kris always moves the cushion, doesn't he?
Whoa. Okay. 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 Hook the Slayer
meets Gladiator?
Interesting.
Before we do,
Yeah.
kind of more importantly, hello to everyone at home. This is Maybe Movies. My name is Max.
And I'm Sam.
We are bereft of Kris this month. Lucky devil.
Lucky bastard.
What we do is we take a couple of films, we extract their central characters and drop them into the plot of the opposite film, and over the course of the month see if we can create two new theoretical movies that kind of may work or kind of may not.
Emphasis on the kind of.
Yeah, very much so. But before we get on to April's movies, we have to go all gribbly back in time to last month. Exactly like that. As we need to resolve the results of our poll that was running on Twitter and also on Patreon to determine who was the overall winner for last month.
Okay, and...
So, just to remind people, so we had The Count of Monte Cristo and V for Vendetta, which we had converted into The Count of Vendetta and MC for Monte Cristo. The three of us on the panel all unanimously voted for MC for Monte Cristo. And we had actually more votes than we've had before on the poll.
Yay.
Which came out 50-50.
Okay.
So
it's still MC for Monte Cristo?
It stands, yeah.
Okay.
So MC for Monte Cristo is the maybe movie for March 2022. Hooray! There'll be a thing here somewhere. And with that out of the way, final thing we need to do is, obviously we do generally tend to do shout-outs for friends, fellow creators, whether it's on YouTube or whatever, but this month in particular, we're going to do a shout-down.
A shout-down?
A shout-down and a boo-bad form.
Oh, okay.
To Netflix for being assholes and not picking up Archive 81 for a second season.
Oh, boo? Boo!
One of the most interesting, original, and very involved and engaging shows on the network for quite some time, and they poo-pooed it.
Are you trying to be the new Fox? Is that what you're trying to be?
I think when I saw it, when it popped up on my feed, I think my response was, obviously they need the money to do another season of Cuties.
Oh, of course.
Because that's got far much more to offer.
Of course it does.
You bastard.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kris. I'm going to get you back for this. Although, when you take away all of the fluff, at their core, they're not dissimilar to brothers.
Oh.
One brother kills their father, usurps power, and the other one needs to end his reign of tyranny. They're very... At their base level, the plots are almost identical.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that, yes. Oh, so it might not be quite as difficult as we thought.
Well, it's unfortunately it's the fluff that we need to worry about because that's the bit that's going to make the difference.
There's a fair amount of fluff to deal with.
There is. I like the idea.
They are fantasies. They are both fantasies at heart.
Yes. Okay, so first of all, I'm assuming then it was just going to be Maximus and Hawk.
Yes.
Because their significant others play such a minor role in it. His wife and son in this have no lines at all.
No, exactly. And their companions they belong to the setting that they're in.
Exactly.
So swapping them would cause a lot more problems than it would ever possibly solve.
Yes.
So I think, just Hawk and just swap them
Maximus.
in.
Yeah.
Maximus, thank you.
Brain. Do I have a brain? Do I need a brain?
Maybe that's why we're here. Our brains are too big.
Yeah, nice thought.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should stop staring at that. I should actually stare at you guys. Hello. Let's have a look. Did I make any notes? Not really.
I don't have any notes yet. I need to rewatch it.
Okay, yeah, we'll come to that in a second. Oh, this is it. So changing is fine. It's just a question of like settings and things like this. I mean, if we wanted to, we can translate things slightly. So we can say that. I mean, I know there's no. The land that Hawk the Soul, the setting for Hawk the Slayer is generic fantasy land.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But for one small thing, and I'm sure it's purely coincidental, but we can use that in this context. Is that at one point in that film they say, oh yes, they were headed to Brackley, and Brackley is a real place because I used to live there.
Okay.
It's in Northamptonshire.
Okay.
So we could say instead of being the Spaniard, he's the Englishman or the Brit or the Briton, I suppose it would be.
Yes. Yes.
So we can move those bits around. I mean, obviously it's slightly more different because you're not going to be able to ride your horse from Germania to Britain, but we can cheek things in the way that we need to make it work.
Yeah, will be quite a bit of because movie in there, I think.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
There's no reason why we can't say that Maximus isn't Voltan's brother.
Yeah.
In fact, in some respects, it might be easier because Russell Crowe in this looks a lot older than John Terry does in that.
Oh, yes, yeah.
That kind of age difference between him and Jack Palance.
Yeah, I always find it a bit difficult to buy that those two are actually brothers. Like,
yeah, who looks like about maybe 10 years younger than his dad.
yeah, exactly. This is like... I don't think they thought about this too much when they were casting, did they?
No. But then again, you do get some wonderful Jack Palance chewing the scenery.
Well, it's what Jack does best, isn't it?
It is, yes. So in that respect, it's not a problem. I mean, if you wanted to keep the same trope, you could say there's no, that's fine, we might as well. Just because it was more in line with the film.
Okay, yeah.
The only problem, I suppose, the one thing that we'll get into it more when we look at them.
Yeah.
Hawk doesn't have the advantage of having magical bullshit sword.
True, but he's not facing magical bullshit opponent either.
True.
So I think that kind of balances out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem that I've got with that is, again, I know it's to do with the limitations of the film itself.
Mm.
He looks like he's a okay swordsman, but he's not a Roman general from the First Legion or whatever. So that's going to be interesting how that plays out.
Yeah.
In terms of acts, if you want to look at that, I know you haven't had a chance to watch them yet. And again, I'm guessing, and I will say this now, these may alter slightly.
Yeah, this could be subject to change. Yeah.
For Hawk the Slayer, I called the end of the first act when he meets the woman again, and magical glowy rings.
Oh, right,
and she starts sending him off to go and gather his troops.
Yes, because that's the gathering. It's the forward motion, isn't it? So,
yeah. Interesting fun fact: the witch in this was just only referred to as woman, played by Patricia Quinn.
Yes, I didn't realise that. Previously. Mind you, when I first watched it, I didn't know who Patricia Quinn was because it wasn't until a number of years later that I saw Rocky Horror. So
exactly.
Just never made the connection.
Act 2 for Hawk the Slayer, again, it's a difficult one, and I don't know whether it's too late in the film, but I would say when the nun betrays them to Voltaire.
Yes, because that would be a low point.
Yeah.
And that's traditionally, that's the end of the second act, isn't it? It's the New Year or something like that, you know.
Fantastic. So in which case,
Yeah.
I think I might not be far off then in how I called this.
Okay.
I called... Because there's almost... I don't know, it almost feels like, because of the length of the film, you can almost say there's almost a 4-act structure in this.
I was worried that you might say something like that, yeah.
So the closest I can make it to make it a 3-act structure would be when he gets back home to Spain and his family are dead.
Yes.
And when he collapses and then wakes up. So the start of Act 2 would be when he wakes up.
In the caravan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have called the end of Act 2 the death of Cicero, the death of his servant.
Ah, of course. Yes.
Because as you just said, it's a low point. They've been betrayed.
Yes, exactly. Everything's fallen apart.
And so there's another parallel. The end of Act 2s are both to do with a betrayal.
There are... Bizarrely, it seems like it might work. Strangely. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you weren't as clever as you thought, were you?
So yeah, you know, I'm happy to agree with that. You know.
For names, just to make them a bit interesting rather than doing... Because on the one side you could have Maximus the Slayer and Gladiator, which is a bit dull. So the only way I could think to do it would be to have Maximus the Gladiator and Slayer. So this would be Slayer, the new version of that. The new version of that would be Maximus the Gladiator.
Yeah. I like it. I approve.
Brilliant. So I suppose then the only other thing that we need to decide is...
Which one first?
Yeah.
I would say maybe do Slayer first, do our version of Gladiator first, because it's not fantastical, it's just a matter of arranging the plot and figuring out what happens.
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously a lot more stuff will change with Maximus the Gladiator.
You're probably right, actually, because I thought that one first, but now you mentioned that, yes, there are other elements and factors that need to be taken into consideration, whereas this...
Yes.
I mean, it's easily acceptable to say that him as being a fantasy character compensates for his lack of military skill, or the lack of military skill that Maximus has.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And so that would make this one potentially the easier one to do.
I think so. We'll see.
This is when it all just crashes and burns.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll go for Slayer first.
Okay. And so that's going to be Slayer the movie, not Slayer the band.
Yes. Important difference.
Because I don't know about you. Well, I know they were, so back in the 80s they were one of the big four, weren't they?
Of course they were. Rain and Blood, man.
I never got Slayer.
I'm not a huge Slayer fan, but Rain and Blood is an awesome album. It's an amazing album. Yeah, it blows your mind. I'm not so keen on their other stuff, but definitely Rain and Blood's worth a listen.
It shall go on the list.
As a random aside.
Yes.
Also, you out there, if you feel like it, go and listen to Slayer's Rain and Blood.
And on that note, we will be back on Wednesday next week with Act 1 of Slayer, the movie.
The movie.
I'm going to call it that. We haven't had one that we can call the movie yet.
No, we haven't, no. Yeah.
Which will see Hawk from Hawk the Slayer leaving the life of a Roman general in the 1st century AD. The second century AD, because it's 180 AD.
Oh, of course it is, yes. Yeah.
Under the wise tutelage of Marcus Aurelius.
Indeed.
Richard Harris.
Oh, I know,
Sorry, getting sidetracked talking about wonderful actors. Anyway, until next Wednesday... Until next Wednesday, have a brilliant weekend, and take care.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Ba 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 ba.